The past never truly vanishes. Instead, it takes refuge in your preferences, in your triggers, in the individuals you pursue, and the ones you instinctively reject. You were instructed to dismiss the anguish, to simply proceed, to dull it with accomplishments, external affirmation, or even spiritual displays. Yet the very thing you evade inevitably develops into your shadow. And this shadow does not remain dormant. It operates without your conscious consent. It selects your romantic partners. It governs your emotional responses. It undermines your inner calm merely to keep you secure from a profound truth you have not yet confronted.
The past is not extinct. It remains vibrant in the subtle recoil you exhibit towards affection, the way you laboriously justify yourself when questioned, the habitual silence you adopt when your whole being wishes to protest. All of it still persists, lurking, anticipating the moment it can be truly acknowledged and experienced. You don't need another motivational slogan. You require a looking glass. Not the kind that reflects your countenance, but the one that reveals your fissures. This is the genesis of shadow work. It does not commence with repairing, but with recalling, with identifying the aspects of yourself you once interred simply to survive. Because that is the central revelation no one discusses. Your shadow emerged to safeguard you. When you were small and someone reproached you for crying, you swiftly adopted a smile instead. When expressing fury resulted in punishment, you learned to ingest it entirely. When being too much alienated others, you diminished yourself for the sake of acceptance. And gradually, bit by bit, your genuine self, the vivacious one, the imaginative one, the perceptive one, was sequestered under the banner of belonging. Now you puzzled why you feel insensible, why love seems unobtainable, why you cannot unwind even in a safe environment. It is because the past is still resounding deep within you. And shadow work is not about hush. It is about learning to attend to those reverberations. So how does one commence this journey? You begin by simply observing. The next time you feel triggered, resist the urge to react. Scrutinize the feeling. Ask yourself, to what recollection does this emotion truly pertain? What version of myself am I reverting to in this instant? And whom am I trying to shield? Following this, document your thoughts, not to create something artistic, but to recollect. Write to the part of you that had to conceal itself, the 8-year-old, the adolescent who ceased trusting, the adult who feigned composure. Inquire of them what they still require, what they are still terrified of, and then heed their response as if your very existence depended upon it. Because in a profound way it does. Your autonomic nervous system is not faulty, it is merely remembering. And your apprehension is not a defect, it is a guidepost to your shadow. The ultimate aim of shadow work is not to achieve faultlessness, it is to become complete.
But achieving completeness demands honesty. And truth often carries the weight of sorrow. You will mourn the person you might have become had you been loved more adequately. You will grieve the duration you spent concealing, shrinking, and overperforming. This will be painful, but it will also liberate you. This is precisely why most people halt their progress, because feeling is considerably more difficult than oblivion. Yet forgetting is the true pitfall, because the body invariably retains the memory. The tightness in your chest, the tremor in your hands, the clenched nature of your jaw when another person draws near. These are not deficiencies, they are communications. They are coded signals from a self that still lingers in the darkness. Not there to torment you, but to be embraced. And when you finally engage with those emotions, the ones you avoided, suppressed, and repudiated, a remarkable transformation occurs. You begin the process of reclaiming your authority, not in grand theatrical ways, but in quiet, subtle moments. You cease assenting when you genuinely mean no. You express your truth without apologizing for its existence. You no longer require external affection to feel worthy. And the past, it ceases to oppress you because you have finally stopped fleeing from it. The past doesn't haunt you because it is malicious. It haunts you because it remains unresolved. And unsettled pain does not simply dissipate, it recurs. This is why you consistently attract the same types of connections, why you paralyze in situations where you know you should assert yourself, why you self-sabotage just as circumstances start to feel positive. It is not destiny, it is a cycle, an unconscious routine originating from an unhealed narrative. And this loop persists until you pause, not to combat it, but to acknowledge and experience it. Shadow work iteratively poses one question: what essential part of myself did I relinquish in order to endure? It might be your voice, your gentleness, your indignation, your sense of awe, or your capacity for trust. Whatever it was, it did not dissolve, it was merely concealed. And that which is interred does not perish, it awaits. So, how do you initiate the process of unification, of returning to a state of integrity? Start modestly. Start in the areas that provoke discomfort. The envy you pretend not to harbor. The judgment that surfaces too swiftly. The element of you that must always be correct. The part of you that dismantles things before they become too satisfying. Do not condemn these facets. Observe them, because every shadow encompasses a core truth at a potential benefit. Your envy might indicate a dream you have silenced. Your fury could be your boundaries struggling to resurface. Your numbness might represent the final layer of defense, protecting a wound you still do not feel secure enough to revisit. Carl Jung termed this endeavor individuation, the gradual and often laborious metamorphosis of evolving into the person you were always destined to be by retrieving what you were pressured to obfuscate. And here is the profound paradox. Your shadow is not your adversary. It is your mentor. It is the component of you that remembers what your conscious intellect has forgotten. It retains the emotion beneath your perpetual rumination. It bears the veracity underneath all your pretense. And it will communicate with you through triggers, through nocturnal visions, in the people you cannot stop contemplating, in the places you fear to tread. But if you genuinely listen, not merely with your intellect, but with your entire being, something sacred unfolds. The fragments commence their return. The child who was silenced rediscovers her utterance. The boy who felt compelled to be strong learns how to weep. The version of you who had to depart finally comes home. This is the trajectory of wholeness, not domination, not flawlessness, but integrity. Let me be entirely candid. It is not always graceful. Sometimes it is chaotic. You will shed tears for reasons you cannot comprehend. You will question who you fundamentally are without the wounds you once labeled as your identity. You will feel as though you are disintegrating, and you are, but only the aspects that were never authentically you. And in that crucial space between who you were and who you are becoming, you will experience something you forgot was even attainable: peace. Not the peace that originates from avoidance, the peace that stems from authenticity, from no longer deceiving yourself, from finally confronting the pain that shaped you and actively choosing a different path. That is shadow work. And no, it is not undemanding, but it is profoundly sacred. Because when you encounter the parts of yourself you once disowned, something ancient is reawakened within you. A cognizance, a recollection, a gentle murmur that states, "You were never shattered, you were only covered up." And gradually you begin to ascend, not as someone novel, but as someone integrated.